Hi, I'm Vinay Paudel. You can follow me at Paudel Vinay and email paudelvinay@gmail and blog vinayp.com.np. And I'm working as a developer since 4 years at Digital Max Solutions. Before jumping into WordPress optimization, let's view about how WordPress builds. What is its structure? Well, WordPress is made up of theme plus core. Core theme is theme plus core, and of course there will be database. Without database, not even a single site can be run. For now, previously it's a static site. It was a static site, but we can't think without database. And WordPress, one of the beautiful thing is plugin. Even a small site use many plugins, 3-4 plugins. So my main concern will be theme plus core, how to optimize theme plus core, or how to optimize WordPress using theme plus core, how to optimize plugin, or how to optimize WordPress using plugin, and how to optimize database, or how to optimize using database, and at the runtime is during browser loading time, during your server response time. So before jumping into the main optimization process, let's see some of the fact result. I have collected this fact result from my own experience and from internet resource. Most of the 80 to 90% site loading time will be consumed during front-end user time will be consumed during site loading. Site loading means it will downloading JS, content file, CSS file, etc. And similarly, your site loading having more than 5 minutes, it means you will lose 50% visitor. So how to recover this? This is a not good result. When you type your URL into browser, it will send a request to server. Sending request means sending HTTP request. So for each content, each JavaScript, each image file, it will send separate HTTP request. The more you have HTTP request, the more your site will be load heavier. So my concern here will be to reduce HTTP request and to reduce the bandwidth, to reduce the size of the content. So your site will be performance better. I have implemented some of the optimization tools. I haven't used all of those tools, tips, and I got that result. Before it was HTTP request 94, and after that I have implemented optimization tips. It become 62, and previously the content was 709.5K and significantly reduced to 208. In this way, you can save your bandwidth as well HTTP request. And this is the fact about speed too. After implementing optimization, some of the optimization, I got 94 among 100. I have implemented that in my blog site. So after this, you can surely use your optimization skill on your site and you will get better performance. So let's get into the optimization. As I have already mentioned that WordPress is mainly built of core and theme. So let's start with optimized theme, well-coded theme. We always need to code the theme in well manner. Well manner means we need to follow the WP standard, WP codex standard, so it won't get bugged. And find any unclosed tag on theme. How many have you been find that broken image has crashed down your site? I have felt many times that one of my broken image crashed my site because each time it's sending HTTP requests and sending HTTP requests. So you have to find any unclosed tag if there is, and you have to remove that. Check malicious unwanted code. When we download theme from any other and when we will implement in our site, we have to find whether there is any unwanted code that is bugging database, that is making load onto database, or that is making load into the server. We can find, I prefer these two themes, theme authentication checker and exploit scanner. From these, it will show you that if there is any unwanted or malicious code. From that, you can remove that malicious code, or you can remove that, uninstall that theme and use another theme. Now images. As images is a part of the theme as well you can use plugin, but I have put this on image theme section because mostly we use images on theme. Replace some of the images with text. If possible, please replace with image with text. Most of the case we can replace on header, title, on header from image to text. On the menu section too, if possible, we can replace that images with text. Use GIF, PNG and JPEG format. Since they are the most compressed format, if possible, please try to use GIF format. And if not possible, you can try for the large size, you can try PNG format, and for the small size image, you can try JPEG format. Try Smooth It. Smooth It is the way to reduce the image size. We don't know that even an image has many unwanted meta information. We just see an image, and Smooth it reduces that meta information without losing your any quality, image quality. So I prefer one of the WP Smooth plugin too, and you can see that result. I have tested 4 files, just general file, and it shows that it reduces 7.5%. Significantly, it will play a great role in your optimizing. Use CSS Sprite. CSS Sprite is one of the technology to combining all different background images to one single images. Different background images means it will ask different HTTP requests. So different HTTP requests means your server will have load more time. So combining them to one single means one HTTP request, and using them by using background URL and background position as seen in the code that you can see in here. We are combining these different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images into one, and by position we are using them into different locations. Combine, minify and compress HTML, JS and CSS. If possible, please minify our HTML code, HTML, JS and CSS file. Remove any unnecessary spaces between CSS or between JS file. There are lots of compressor tool. We can use that online compressor tool too, like CSS compressor, JS compressor. Or even there are many plugins which do the same. That will compress the unwanted things and compress your CSS into a small amount, and that will also save your bandwidth and increase the optimization. And if possible, put CSS on header. As we know that for every CSS, it will allow to parallelly load other things during the HTTP request getting. But JS file won't allow to parallelly, while it is downloading a JS file, it won't allow to parallelly download other things. So if possible, always put CSS on header and JavaScript on footer. And if possible, combine all CSS file into one and combine all JS file into one. And don't put any CSS into inline file as inline. As inline reduces the HTTP request, but again it will increase your bandwidth size. So make it all CSS to external file. Now one of the great things in theme is caching. As we all know about the caching, but how do we do caching? WordPress core itself provides two types of caching. One is non-persistent caching. Non-persistent caching means that caching which remain only to that particular page and which only remain to the memory. So it is for the short period of time. We can use this type of cache on our page or post while getting all post meta, page meta. As shown in the example, we can use WP cache get, WP cache add and WP cache delete. As shown in the example, first of all, we need to check whether these are in the cache already or not. If not, then we can add these things, and when again it is loading that page, it will retrieve those things from that cache. Similarly, WordPress provides another persistent caching. Persistent caching means it lasts for a long time and it will reside its data into database and into file. And WordPress provides get transient and set transient. Get transient and set transient will deposit its data into WP option table. So, and it will have expiry time, so we can use it for certain period of time. Since we are using it for certain period of time, so it's called temporary persistent caching. For permanent persistent caching, we have to use plugin like W3 Super Cacher. Now let's come to the plugins. How to optimize using plugins, or how to optimize the plugin itself. Be selective on plugin choice. Always selective on plugin choice. Before downloading any plugin, we have to check whether it is updated or not, whether it is compatible or not, whether it is broken or not, or how many reviews are there. And always try to use latest updated plugin theme, because latest updated plugin theme will come with latest updated optimized code that will surely increase your site performance. Deactive and delete unnecessary plugins. We just simply deactive and leave the plugins, but it won't help you. It surely affects you in the optimization, because even deactive plugin will remain its data into database. It will put its data into WP option table or its own table. So always delete non-necessary plugin so that your database amount will be again reduced. Similarly, we can check plugin performance. As we know that even a small site will have more plugin, so we don't know that which plugin has what role, and which plugin is taking most of the time, most of the server time, most of the database time. So always need to check performance check. Which plugin is taking how much time, which plugin is taking how much time. Upon getting that performance checking, we can conclude that this plugin, yes, this plugin is taking that much time. We can kick out that plugin and use another plugin, or use our own function in the function.php file. So I recommend here plugin performance profiler, and I have shown you a result in my own site. I have tested this, and it is showing it's in pie chart the percentage of each plugin taking time. Now cache using plugin. As I have already mentioned that cache is a great tool to optimize your site. So we can use W3 Total Cache and WP Super Cache. They are the great plugin, so we can reduce the bandwidth and HTTP request as well. Apply CDN using plugin. CDN is a way, it is a content delivery network. It is a way to distribute your content among different servers. Suppose your site is heavy and your site visitor is 1,000, 10,000, then it is possible to crash your site if they all visit once at a time. So it is better to spread those content to different servers. CDN is a way to distribute that content into different servers. So here, if we are in Kathmandu and Kathmandu user are requesting, then server will serve for the Kathmandu city, and for the Bhaktapur city, another server will be served. In that way, user will get fast response. And there are Amazon, Akai, tool like that. And we can, in WordPress, we can use W3 Total Cache, which we can use for CDN too. And during CDN, always try to use image file, JS file, CSS file, and uploaded files too. Now, the most significant thing, optimize using WP config. This is a core thing. For the to enable cache, we always need to define WP cache true in our wp.config file. And while we editing our post or page, during every editing, in every 2 minutes, it will create another row, another one row of that post. That is called a post revision file, and it will save in database as a inherit form. So if we have 10,000 data, then it will have another 10,000 row that will again burden to our site. So if we don't need such things, we don't need post revision, and we don't have large site like multiple authors, then we don't need that. So we can define WP post revision to false, so that it won't save into another row. But for the country like Nepal, where power failure is the main problem, and for multiple author, we need WP post revision. So we can, for that case, we can use this, reduce the post revision to by giving number 10, 20, 10, like this. And as we know that post and page have what status? Publish, private, trash, and draft. We trash the post or page, and we don't even notice that they are stored into the database, and we don't need them. But still, it is making heavy to that database. So we can reduce that by putting these things in trash days 30. It means it will remove post with trash automatically within 30 days. Similarly, when you open your WordPress site, it will search for its home URL and site URL in the .config config file. If it won't find that URL, then it will search for your database. That is again another burden to the server. So we can reduce that burden by defining these two things in our config file. Now another point comes allow repair. We can repair our database, optimize database by giving allow repair true, and we can optimize in that way too. Now optimize using HTSS. As I have already mentioned that we can optimize, WordPress consists of optimize, we can optimize WordPress, but on the runtime too. On the runtime using HTSS, we can use gzip file compression. It will compress the file, compress the server response file so that the bandwidth will be saved. And I have given one example. This is for Apache version 2.0, and for previous 1.3 it has used mode_gzip, and for other server we have other code. I haven't mentioned here. And similarly, tag is an entity tag. It is a one way and one identifier which is used in HTTP, which will tell the server that whether the current data is matched with previous or not. I mean, it is used for cache. But we have already used cache and other things, and since it takes time for validation, so let's not use this. It will extra burden. So we can disable this by header unset tag and file tag none. And similarly, we can use again caching, browser caching, by giving expiry time by writing putting code like that way. We can put image GIF, Java XML for user browser caching. And even we can optimize our server too. We can use different framework like Xcache, Memcache, Accelerator, which again surely boost up our site. It will again increase 20 to 30% of our site performance. Now let's come to the optimized database. If we have knowledge of PHP-admin, then we can go to PHP-admin, and in the right side we can see their overhead. These are overhead. Then when we select this overhead and when we optimize, then it will reduce that unnecessary byte, unnecessary spaces. So again we can optimize our database too. And if we don't have access to our database PHP-admin, then we can use different plugins to optimize. There are different plugins, and I recommend two plugins: WP-Optimize and Optimize DB, automatic database repair. As I have already mentioned that on WP-config file, we can allow WP_repair true, so that we can use our site /admin/main/repair.php, so it will again optimize our database. Another, don't back up your database during high traffic time. During high traffic time, if we try to back up our database, then it will surely take our server load time. So always don't back up our database during high traffic time. And use following queries on footer. That will give the how many queries are running in your page. It will give certain statistics so that you can reduce queries, and it will again give time so you can check again your theme and reduce the queries. You can use cache to database as well. There are lots of plugins. The plugin cache also use cache for the database. And always delete spam comment, because that will also create unnecessary spaces on the database. So if we don't need, then always delete them. Here are the different sizes. Thank you. Hope you have enjoyed.